Hi, my name is White Davy, and I've been a commercial worm farmer and a worm farming coach for the past 6 years. During my worm farming journey, I have experienced quite a lot of challenges. I've had to deal with frigid temperatures that in my region can feel like minus 55 degrees Celsius for a few days or a few weeks in the winter. I've had to deal with overcrowded worm bin, not enough moisture in the worm bin, pests eating my worms. So many issues. I think I face all the challenges that a worm farmer can actually face. Now, when I started worm farming, there wasn't really a lot of information that was readily available. There weren't a lot of people who were willing to help. In fact, the veterans in the business usually keep the information for themselves, but as technology continue to increase and information becomes more readily available, then there's no reason for them to hold on to the information that they have. So worm farming over the years, especially since the 2020 pandemic started, has become even more popular because more gardeners are becoming aware of worm farming and the benefits. Now, as I was going through these challenges and I didn't have anywhere to turn for information except from the lady that I sourced my worms from, I started doing a lot of research. I started doing a lot of experiments. So I would ask myself, if I do this, what would happen? If I do that, what would happen? I started playing around with different ideas and seeing what works, what doesn't work, and what works the best. Now, over the years, I've continued to do so because there is just so much that you can learn from worms, and I think they're just quite interesting little creatures. And then the benefits that come from knowing about them and having them for yourselves is just quite phenomenal. So one of the things that I've learned from my experience is that not having the right help can be very frustrating because you're faced with all these challenges, and then because I only have 3 to 4 months out of the year in my region that is really warm enough for the worms to be comfortable outdoors, so I had to bring them indoors, and with all those frigid temperatures, the challenges were just piling up. So it's not as if I was facing this challenge now and then I was facing that challenge another time. The challenges just kept piling up on me, piling up on me. So it was really necessary for me to find a solution, and the answers was not readily available, so I had to find my own solution. Now, because I know from my personal experience just how frustrating it can be when you see all these negative things happening in your worm farm and you don't really know what to do about it, then I know that other worm farmers are experiencing the same thing, and they too are looking for a way out, looking for someone who would be willing to share this information with them so that they don't have to go through all of this suffering. That is one of the reasons why I started sharing my information with others. So how I got started sharing my information, I would just do videos of what I'm doing on my worm farm. No tips, no, not focusing on helping others, just posting videos about my worm farm, whatever it is that I'm doing. I was not very consistent with it either because, well, I was just getting started and I knew nothing, pretty much didn't know what I was doing. Anyway, as I post my video, I noticed that more and more people are getting interested in the worm farming, and then I start to give tips in my videos, and then I see people starting to ask questions. I realize, yes, definitely there is a need for information, and so that is how I got started as a worm farming coach. Now, in order to prevent people from having to experience the same thing that I went through, where not enough information is readily available, that is why I became a worm farming coach. So now I'm able to help others to prevent these situations from occurring in the first place, and if they do occur, how they can sort out these problems and what steps they can take to prevent it from happening again. Now, we are imperfect. Technology change, method of doing things change. So from time to time, there is going to be need for us to make adjustment. New challenges are going to arise from time to time. So that is why on a consistent basis, I try to reach out to as many as possible who need the help to make sure that it is there for them. One of the big challenge that worm farmers face is dealing with sufficient airflow in their worm bin. Now, it is critical to have a good airflow in your worm bin, and so that is why I'm going to be offering you this free video on the importance of having the right airflow in your worm bin. So step by step, we're going to be discussing the various ways that insufficient airflow or sufficient airflow affects your worm bin. In this free video, we're going to also discuss how worms breathe. We are going to look at how airflow affect the beneficial life form like your microbes and so forth that are in your worm bin. We're going to be comparing aerobic as opposed to anaerobic worm bin. We're also going to be looking at why the type of bin that you use matter, and we're going to look at what you can do with the type of bin that you have if you find that it is restricting airflow for your worms. We're also going to be looking at how often you need to aerate your worm bin, and then we are going to be looking at what steps you can take to ensure that you have enough airflow and to maintain that consistent airflow in your worm bin. So if you are interested in this free video, please let me know what email address I can send this video to.